Yes, man, that should be the title of this episode. Ziegler Household, the place of magical stories.
How about the first and last New Year's party that we threw at my house? So it's sophomore year of college, Christmas break, New Year's Eve's coming up.
Yeah.
And sophomore year of college, it's such an awkward point because you're like, some of you can get into bars, some of your friends can't. So when you have big events like New Year's Eve, you're trying to decide what you're going to do. Like, are we going to have a house party? Are we going to go to the bar? In our group chat of 8 or 10 guys, bros are peace.
Tom, look, they're all the same.
Dude, we're talking about the puzzles.
No.
We couldn't come up with a decision. Finally, I was just like, I don't feel like going to the bars. I live out in the boonies of Kentucky, 20, 30 minutes from any bar. I don't feel like doing that. I'd rather do a house party. So, and my buddies Jared and Graham,
You guys, let's just get to the point.
and Griffin, they're more like family than they are friends at this point, right? So they're texting me like, dude, come on, do you think you can have a... Because I've had a couple smaller house parties in high school, you know, like my house was kind of like always the backup option for the weekends.
I was really fucking with you. Hold on, let me get a picture.
Hey.
God, Grant.
Hey!
You okay, bud?
All right, it was inserted, right?
It was a usual spot for smaller parties, and they kind of said, you know, hey man, this is the last New Year's we're all going to get to spend together before we stay up at college, you know, at our houses and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, like, that's a good point. Let me talk to my parents, and I'll see what they say. So I talked to my parents. I'm like, hey, do you care if I have a small party here? Which I've had before, you know, and I'm thinking in my head, like, you know, maybe 20 people at the most. And they're like, how many people do you think? I'm like, probably like 10, 15 people.
There's a lot of people here. I told my parents I was having like 10 people over, and we had like 40, 50 people in my basement.
It was a shit show.
It was a shit show.
You know, they didn't care. They were going to a New Year's party of their own anyway. So I had the base. They said, just keep it in the basement. I mean, that's fine. Just keep it in the basement. So I'm like, all right, fine. So I text my buddies back, hey, we can have a party at my house. That's fine. You know, invite who we still. And I just said, you know, invite whoever. And I'm thinking in my head, so I'm thinking like, yeah, there'll probably be like 15 people here at the most. And that was it. I just go back to doing my thing. And my phone just keeps buzzing, notification. And I'm thinking like, it's a text message, and I'm like, why are we still arguing about the plan? I already said I'll have a party at my house. Well, I pick up my phone, and it was either Jared or Graham. They haven't admitted to this day. I know one of those fuckers started it.
Who started the group me? Was that you or Graham?
That's this fucker right here.
Who started the
I
group
started
me?
Group Me.
The group me for the party at my house. Who started that?
I didn't start that.
One of you two fucking started that.
That was not true.
Who started it? I know it was one of you two.
I didn't know Group Me existed in high school.
No, it's like a Facebook group.
Whatever
And you
group
definitely
message-
started it. What the fuck?
Facebook
I think you
group.
was. Dude,
You started a group message for a party at my house.
You're going to be a great lawyer one day. Because you're the biggest fucking
Piece of
lying
shit.
piece of shit.
Facebook group.
Yes.
But neither of them admitted it. There's a huge group message going on, and I think it was on like GroupMe or one of those Facebook messengers, whichever one that you can like continue to add people as you start messaging. So someone messaged party at Tom's. I start looking at how many people are there. There's like 10 people in it. I'm like, it's not that many people. Then I look again a couple minutes later, there's 20 people. Then we get some more messages, now a couple more messages. By the end of the week, like the day of New Year's Eve, there's like 40, 50 people in this. And I'm like, dude, fuck, like my house is, I don't have that big of a house anyway, and I gotta keep everything in the basement. So I'm thinking in my head like, this is not gonna go well. And it's, you know, it's different when your parents are out of town for the weekend or a long period of time, because you can throw a banger, clean up everything, not have shit to worry about for a couple days, and hope that when they get home everything's gonna be cool. But in this case, like, I know my parents are coming home at some point on the night of New Year's Eve, so I'm like, shit, dude, like, I'm cool having a party, but I don't know how I'm gonna get this covered up or cleaned up by the time they get home. I start kind of like trying to talk myself off this ledge, right? I'm like, yeah, there's not that many people that are really gonna show up. Like, I really only talked to like 10 people from high school anyway, so like, yeah, there's 40 or 50 people in this group chat, but not that many will actually show up. You know, again, I live out in the middle of nowhere. I'm not that worried about it. So the party itself starts. Jared shows up first, and he's in a Tito's Christmas sweater with this ungodly, amazing Fu Manchu.
It's like 3 months ago.
Insert the clip.
Griffin shows up, and we're all, you know, we're getting ready, we're drinking a little bit, and everyone's just kind of like, you know, like, where's Graham? Graham's the type of dude that, like, you'll text individually, like, hey, what's up? Or, hey, where you at? You know, like, whatever you're sending to him. And he won't text you back, even though you just text him individually. But he'll text 20 minutes later in the group chat and send a stupid-ass message. And he sends this message, hey, is anyone else wearing tuxedos tonight?
Are we all wearing tuxedos to this party?
No, because I was trying to look good.
For what?
I don't know. I
Just
like to look
'cause?
good. I look good right now, man.
look
Look at
so
this nice
fucking
jean jacket.
stupid.
I look fucking good.
And you're like, you fucker, like, I just texted you when you're going to be to my house and you're asking who's wearing fucking tuxedos. Show up, come on, where you at? So, finally I just call him, like, where you at? And he's like, dude, I shaved off half my eyebrow when I was getting ready.
And yeah, I was like,
Made in
I had
Vietnam.
a little Anthony Davis unibrow going.
And
So I was
you...
like,
On purpose?
I was looking in the mirror. I was like, and just cut this one right in two. Right in two.
Right.
So Graham shows up with half an eyebrow and in a tuxedo. And then, you know, from there the party just kind of started. And at first, again, I wasn't that worried about it. I'm like, no one's really going to show up. And around 10:30, 11, everyone just starts pouring through the door. I'm like, shit, dude, it's already getting kind of tight in here. Then like 20, 30 more people show up. So there's a lot of people in my house, and I'm like, fuck, dude, like, this is not how I wanted this to go. Like, yeah, I wanted to have a party, but I didn't think there'd be this many people here. And I'm talking people who I hadn't talked to since, like, I walked off the graduation stage in high school.
Everybody's just shit faced and like people are like dancing like it was 1970 fucking 4.
Nope, that was just you.
I kind of look out. We have this acre next to our house that I always just have everyone park in. I'm like, it's like a parking lot full of people. So, again, it's no big deal when it's like a weekend banger and your parents are out of town. But when your parents are coming home that night, you're kind of stressed. And I'm like looking around, like, fuck, dude. And while I was kind of focused on just trying to figure out how many people were at my house, they started playing drinking games in our back bar room, which is all tile.
People were falling all over the tile.
That entire like nice,
That was slick.
innocent,
That's when I broke
great,
it.
like great
Flashback.
fucking like time turned into just.
And there's a ping pong table in there, so they started playing Boom. If you don't know what Boom is, you're missing out on the greatest drinking game ever invented.
And we brought out Boom,
And the Graham's
Best
Coke
drinking-
dealer showed up.
best drinking game of all time. Boom, and
Debatable.
we.
Those games like Flip Cup, you know, there's water everywhere and shit, so the tile floor starts to get super slick. And again, you're as the kid hosting the party, I'm getting a little bit nervous because I'm like, there's two decisions here. I either shut it down or I get drunk enough to just take the ass beating that I'm going to get from my parents. So there was a girl that I was simping for like 3 years, and she shows up.
Shout out volleyball.
So I'm like, fuck it. I'm just gonna get drunk enough to get New Year's kiss and let my dad be my ass. So I started drinking more than I was, and I come into the back room. There's people falling left and right, and Jared comes around the corner. I see it happen, and as soon as he rounds the corner too fast, he's got a bottle of Jack in his hands.
Assholes.
So do you remember shattering the bottle?
Yeah, I honestly was not gone at that point.
How'd you fall that bad?
Because it was, as you just said, it was slick.
You ate shit.
I called myself with that bottle.
He falls, tries to catch himself with his hands, just shatters it all over the tile floor. And then, 10 minutes later, he's in the bathroom. But he's in there with fucking Graham. And I don't even know why. Like, there was no line to go. It wasn't like at a big house party or at a bar where there's a line to get into the one bathroom available. Like, Graham and Jared were just in there together.
Somebody stuck their head through the wall or something.
There was a glory hole at one point.
That didn't happen, but you did piss in my bathroom sink.
Ew, this smells horrible.
Do you remember that?
Caught in 4K.
I saw the video of that.
Don't
Graham's pissing in my
tell
sink.
Tom. Hey,
Dude,
He
I
said,
have a
pissing and it smells horrible.
I have a great relationship with that sink.
you barely made it up
And
there.
It's got some great plumbing. Yeah, there's
You
tiptoes.
to arch it.
Tiptoes.
But it,
Oh, I just took a piss.
And then I get a Snapchat of Graham pissing in my sink instead of using the toilet. And the whole time I'm trying to maintain this party, I'm also trying to simp for this chick that I want to make out with. While this kid named Cody, and God love him, I love Cody so much, he's drunk as shit. And in my basement we have a real fireplace, like one of those wood burning metal stoves. Like, it's super hot, just it heats the whole house, but it's wood burning, so you can't just like turn it on and off. It's not like a gas fireplace.
He kept complaining. It's like, Tom, can you please just turn the heat down? I'm like, Cody, it's a wood burning stove. I can't just like turn it down.
Turn the heat down.
Can you please turn the heat down? He kept
Man,
saying
it's so hot in here. Please just turn the heat down just a couple notches.
And the whole time during the party, the one thing my dad asked was that when he left, just to keep the fire going. So I'm throwing a log in there every couple hours. So I'm like kind of hotboxing 50, 60 people in my basement. And the whole time we're there, Cody is just like following me around. Hey, Tom, could you just turn the fireplace off? And I'm like, I can't turn it off. I already turned the fan off. I can't just turn the fire off. He's like every 5 minutes, Tom, can you please turn the fire off? I'm like, no, Cody, I can't turn the fucking fire off. It's a real fucking fire. So all that's going on while my friends are shit-faced doing God knows what around the house. And finally, Jared, who also simped for a girl, not as bad as me, but it was one of those girls from high school who, like, you don't really talk to that much, but when you guys are home, you know, you're like, ooh. She shows up with this dude, and kid you not, like, she walks in, and this just massive 6'7" dude just kind of, like, ducks in behind her. He's a fucking D1 pitcher for TCU.
Just showed up with her 6'7" boyfriend.
John Lester.
No, but by this,
We're all like, holy shit. And Jared, you know, we all kind of saw her walk in with this dude, and Jared kind of looks back at us. He's like, guy's pretty fucking big. Yeah, we're like, yeah, that guy's a stud.
What'd you
Jared
say?
was
No,
jealous
he was a cool
that
guy.
night.
He's a Packers and a Cardinals.
But you were
fan.
So Jared ends up becoming friends with the guy that night, and you know, it was a really good time. And you know, as the party progressed, you know, I'm starting catching up with all these kids I haven't seen in a while, and I'm having a great time. Ball drops, not thinking anything of it. Well, then I look at my watch, and you know, after taking some shots and getting myself caught up with the rest of the party, I'm like, ooh, shit, my parents are gonna be home soon, man. No. It gets to be about 1:30, and a lot of people are like, oh, we're just gonna stay, you know, we're just staying. I'm like, all right, yeah, that's fine. So I'm like trying to cram as many people as I can in my bedroom, which is in the basement. One bed, just to, like, you know, everyone just find a place to sleep. You know, it's time to start going to sleep. Well, you know, you have the kids who they just want to go all night. So I'm taking shots with this kid named Ryan, who I hadn't seen in a minute. And at this point, I'm drunk, and I go upstairs just to kind of check everything out. And I start puking in the sink. Well, of course, I start puking in the sink. And I'm up there with Jared, Graham, and Griffin, you know, kind of the four guys that threw the party. Parents show up. And I'm like, oh, shit. My dad kind of looks at me and looks at, like, there's like the 10, 12 guys hanging out upstairs in the living room that he looks at. And, you know, so now I know my dad in his head, he's like, this might be weird. So he slowly goes down, walks down the basement. So I'm standing upstairs with my mom in the kitchen and Graham and Jared and Griffin in our heads. You know, you're just kind of waiting for your dad to come upstairs and beat my ass. And, you know, my buddies had been over. They've had so many exchanges with my dad, you know, just us pissing my dad off with our partying stuff.
Dude, getting stranded.
That, like, it's, you know, it's just like clockwork at this point. So my dad, you know, goes downstairs, comes back upstairs, and looks at me, and he's like, there's more than 10, 15 people here. I'm like, yeah, I know. Well, then he just starts laughing, and then just cracks a beer with my buddy and starts drinking, and my mom's like, yeah, that's pretty trash. I'm like, yes, like, we're good. So then I just kind of went back to puking in the sink. People end up crashing at my house. Next day, party kind of clears out, and it's just me, Graham, Jared, and Griffin. And my mom's like, you know, you guys gonna start cleaning up? We're like, yeah, you know. So we're downstairs, and like, Graham and Jared always fight. They always fight. Gang. They started fighting.
Ow! Yeah, it hurt. Hit me in the fucking balls, you prick.
We ended up just fucking around for the rest of the day.
Hey, brother. Want to see a real dude?
The guys went home before the New Year's Day football games, but it was one of those parties, man, like, really unexpected thing. Thought I was going to get in trouble for it, and it didn't. So, you know, when that kind of stuff works out in your favor, it turns into those memories that you're just like, God, that was such a good fucking time. I regret absolutely nothing from that.
Taking shots by the lake till I can't even breathe no more, see no more. I was riding around town thinking to myself, is it gonna get Taking shots by the lake till I can't even breathe no more. See no more.
Someone started a Facebook group
Just invited all
and
these
added like 40 people to my
Great
house.
time though.
It was a great time.
I don't believe that happened.
Of college, we come
Hey,
back.
shout out Blake.
As much as you're saying that, though, we're gonna have a New Year's party.
I didn't take my meds.
We
today.
decided it was gonna. Griffin shattered a wine bottle out back. He rock spiked it on
Yeah.
concrete out back.
I'm glad you did, Jared. I'm not
Which
bashing you
one
for
of
this.
you was it?
Wasn't me.
You showed up with one eyebrow in a tuxedo.
Yeah, dude, because I was trying to look good, man.
It was you. So was you.
Was it the one year he was like, "Hey man, we should all go to this one club down in Covington"?
No.
No,
That was the year after.
That's a whole.
That's
That's,
a whole
another
other
podcast.
story.
My
That's
friend can
another
get us in. It's
podcast.
gonna be sick.
That's a
This time we had ordered snappy tomato, ordered all this food. Everybody's just going ham on this. But it's like a cool high school reunion in the beginning. Everybody was like kind of just sober and just hanging out. Like people hanging from the chandeliers.
Thanks to you and your suit.
So I'm trying not. I'm
Dude,
trying to,
I was
like,
fucking Great Gatsby out there. I was one eyebrow Great Gatsby.
Everybody-
stayed an entire shit show. Now Stephen Hawking! I was dancing. Man.
Everyone forgot their masks.
Yeah.
maybe I have a learning disability. Mom and Dad
Is this the
came
night
home.
of the pizza box?
That's another night. That was a good night though.
Yeah, that's 2 nights. Life coach Alex Shelton.
who?
Shout out Alex Shelton.
I
Look
remember
like a
the
Pablo
Dickers. I remember
Picasso
the
painting
Dickers.
out there.
Dickers was sick.
You were trying to scrub this off.
Fucking get you. Tom. Episode 3.
Is that
No,
how
it's
that
only
goes?
gonna be like 3 minutes into this shit. Like,
Talks with
So-
Tom. Episode 4.
what episode is this?
Take
8.
1.
8.
Take 1.
Talks with Tom,
This is
episode
like take 3.
69.
Episode 8.
College, you come back and it's like the last year before you're.
And shout out Natalie Portman. Shout out Christina Applegate.
Yeah. Hey, take it easy, man.
It's the last
January 31st.
It's the last time we're gonna.
Shout out Christina Applegate. Yep. But like we can't fit all that into one podcast. That's why we all got to come back and every time tell a story about this fucking
Yeah,
house.
one individual story. That's what we're trying to do. And you're out here
But
on your
this-
own mystical
Dyslexic
journey.
fuck.
Dude, no, this is the thing. I think every story we have there is just going to be convoluted like this because we all got so fucked
word.
up. Thanks, bro. Shout out Mrs. Rasp.